Hello and welcome. Welcome to another Conversations in Consciousness with Lisa and Keith. I am Lisa Warner.
And I am Keith Leon S. Welcome.
Today, we thought we would talk about consciousness and we would talk about artificial and organic consciousness. Consciousness is it's who and what we are. It is everything, existence. If we exist, we have consciousness. And how we exist depends on how our consciousness is configured. And when our consciousness becomes artificially configured, we start to stray from the divine design. Our consciousness is organically generated from God, source, prime creator itself. But here on this planet, there is a lot of artificially constructed thought patterns. And we see the results of a very disharmonious, discombobulated world that is filled with dis-ease and destruction. So we thought we would talk about organic versus artificial consciousness today.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting how through foods and other things kind of desensitized us to the words artificial. Right? So there's artificial sweeteners, there's artificial this, artificial that in the food, and it's like if people actually read the box or the package, then they see it, but I don't think it really registers. So it kind of
Yeah.
dumbs down the intensity of the word. Because if you think about there's movies like going back to the 60s or whatever when they're already talking about that subject about artificial intelligence and toying with the thought of it taking over. So it's always been kind of an interesting subject as long as I can remember, but never more prevalent than right now as being an agenda that's really being pushed. And so many people that I truly feel would be like, right, are all in. And I don't understand it. So when it comes to consciousness, organic versus artificial, I feel like the way that I was able to tap in to the organic was through prayer and meditation, sitting long enough to organically get the answers. And then one of the answers was organically as I sit, as I dream, as I visualize, as I, whatever you want to call it, vision, right? As I do that, then I'm creating just like the places that people put on the AI thing and play the game, and they're in another world, and it's like a video game, and they can do anything and create anything in that world. And it's like, yeah, take the mask off. Okay, we're in it. It's the same exact thing. So do anything and create anything that you want without the apparatus on your head, because it's the same game either way. That's what came up for me in what you just said.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting because the more we the more we remember, I was going to say the more we learn, but it's really not learning, it's remembering. The more we remember who we are and what the divine design is, we start to realize that we are powerful beings. We are created in the image and likeness of God's source creator. And we have all of the same powers. And the power isn't power over. It's not about force. It's not about, domination. It's about creation. It's the
Mm,
power of creation. And everything, when we look at this beautiful, beautiful planet that we live on,
mm,
it was created from love. It was created from full consciousness. It was created as its own ecosystem where all plants, all animals, all beings live in divine co-creation and harmony. And I mean, it really is the Garden of Eden. This is paradise. We are living on paradise right now. But like the like the song says, they paved paradise and put up a parking lot,
right.
and we have forgotten how to live in harmony, which is what is actually natural and organic.
Mm,
So our consciousness has been kind of hijacked and diverted. It's like, hey, look over here.
yeah.
Here are all these, here are the priests, you talk to the priest. If you want to talk to God, come talk to the priest.
Right.
We already have a direct connection when we
Right.
sit and we meditate. It's about getting quiet and merging with the mind of God, merging with the organic intelligence of the universe. And then all of our answers just arrive. It just becomes clear. We're shown instantly if we can get into that space. But because our
Mm,
consciousness has been so diverted from so many different things, education system, think all these thoughts. You go to school and there's like, here's all this information, learn all this information. And we're just like, ah, our consciousness is just filled with then a whole bunch of garbage, a bunch of useless information
mm,
that's designed to cut us off from the organic intelligence that is naturally ours.
mm. True. I'm gonna go back for 1 second because I literally could hear a couple people who are listening to this going, "Wait, what?" When you said we have the same power as God. Uh, so, so for you who had that thought, just have a day where you track the things that you say and the things that you think. Just have a day where you track it. If you write it down, or you just, I'm going to remember that. I remember that. I'm going to remember that, and then notice and see how much of it comes true. At one point, every bit of it. Some of it faster, some of it slower. We create that as well. I maintain that we do. So, so just for that, I literally felt a couple of people come and say, "What?" when you said that. So I was like,
Right?
remember to go
And
back to that.
that power is literally unconditional love, the
Mm,
power of creation through unconditional love.
yeah, yeah. And then education, yeah, surely. It's really funny because is it just you and me, or did everybody at some point say, "What of any of this am I going to use in the real world?" I mean,
Right?
unless you knew you were going to be an accountant, right, and work with numbers, and so you took all the math classes and I don't know, even if in accounting, do they ever use pre-calculus or calculus? I don't know, because
Trigonometry,
yeah, because I was just like, why would I need to know any of this stuff? I felt like drama, speech class, right, art, like all the things that I loved were those were the things I felt would actually apply to me. And they were just called electives, right? So I had to do the ones that I didn't want to do. And then I would get like this bone of being able to choose something that I would actually use in the real world, like
right,
one of those classes or
right.
semester. So I was on to him pretty early, and really noticed the militant hand raising and the bells and, all the control mechanisms, like
Do you guys
really
have to
jumped
do
out
the Pledge of Allegiance?
every morning. Yeah. Yeah.
Why am I pledging my allegiance to a flag? Heck, what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. At one point, they even pulled out under God because they said they didn't want to mix religion and school, but politics, that's cool. What? I was like, just to not drop the whole thing then. If we're going to drop God out of it.
It-
It's just it's a funny world that we live in. And so if we create everything, then we created that too. And so why did I create that? It's always the question I love to go to. No matter what happens, why did I create that? What am I to learn from that? Right? Why did I create going to a militant school system? To show me early on so that I didn't live the whole rest of my life lockstep in a 9 to 5 job that I hated living for 2 weeks out of the year. And then some people don't even have a good time on that 2 weeks. Like, you ever seen families on vacation? Does that look like fun? Wow, that is not the life I wanted from childhood. I was like, no, thank you. Hmm. I don't know what I want to do yet because I'm just a little kid, but I don't think that's it.
yeah, like wow. I always there's so much I could say about it. Like when I was, I tell that story about when I was 2 years old and I was just part of this unified field of unconditional love. And I knew that that was what's actually real, this love and light. And then I could look at the planet and go, yikes, humanity is not doing that. They're fighting wars over whose God is better than whose, which religion is better, and
Yeah.
over money. And it was clear to me at that time that this was a prison planet. I could see that it was a prison, and I could also see the amnesia. Like
Mm,
I could see people just walking around without any awareness of the divine design of who they truly are. And
mm,
then it was the last awareness part was that school was where we get programmed, where our
right.
consciousness gets programmed.
Yeah.
So if we are living from programmed consciousness, we're just creating a programmed reality.
Mm. I saw a documentary, and they went to visit this community in Puerto Rico, and it was a community that was living off grid, food forest, everything. And then in town was a school system that even people that weren't living in that community all agreed to this type of school system. And when you went to the school, there was just kids running around playing, being kids, doing stuff, art projects, everything. And they interviewed a couple of the kids, and they sounded like 32-year-old adults.
Right? Yeah.
And it's like, why do you like this kind of school system? This one kid was 12. He's like, I love this school system because it really encourages you to dream, and it really encourages you to figure out like what you want to do, and then physically do it. He's like, it's like, for instance, I'm into art, so right now I'm doing this art project, and for people that want to cook, we can do that. And they're like, what? And the guy goes to that's hosting the show, goes to the person that was taking them on the tour. You let kids have knives? And he goes, yeah, there's like 6, 7-year-olds, you know. And he goes, and you want to hear something interesting? What? Never once, not even a cut, right? Because there was nobody saying, "Oh, be careful, you'll cut yourself." There's like no energy of that. So this kid's just, 5 years old, chopping, cooking, and as you just looked around, literally they were all kind of into doing what that felt creative and inspiring in the moment, and it was all different things, but there were groups of them feeling the different things at the same time. And it was just so beautiful to see that, and to hear, each of the kids that was in that system having full blown like adult conversations.
Yes.
I was just like, they're so far ahead, so far
Right.
ahead.
I mean, that's such a great example of organic consciousness.
Yeah.
When we are allowed to just grow and observe our surroundings and connect into the things that we love, the things that we're interested in, we just learn organically, and
Mhm.
things become completely apparent. And when we teach, children, in at least in our society here in America, they're taught, there's this consciousness overlay of that babies are born, just completely empty, totally devoid of any consciousness whatsoever,
Right.
and that they have to be taught. We have to teach them everything because they don't know anything. And that's exactly completely in reverse. I
1
remember
million.
being 2 years old. I remember knowing at that time that I knew more than my parents did about how the universe worked.
Yeah.
But I was never asked. There was never any type of conversation that I could add to in that respect.
Mhm.
So I also knew that historically, people that knew about the divine design or wanted to help others remember, like so, that didn't really that didn't really appeal to me.
Yeah.
Being burned at the stake. Even I didn't think I was going to be burned at the stake, but it was like I really could see that, being put in an asylum probably wasn't really too far fetched. If you're talking about things that other people don't understand around you,
Right.
they kind of go, "Wow, you're insane. You need to be locked away. You need to be put on
Mm.
medication."
Yeah. We're born knowing everything, and then we have that programmed out of us, or replaced. I like to say replaced as opposed to programmed out, but there's so much space in this thing. And it's like,
Right?
oh, replace, replace, erase, replace, erase, replace, with
Yeah.
fear. And did I mention fear? I saw Kevin James, his first 10 minutes of his new comedy act was all about that fear, programming, uh, all of it. I was like, go Kevin, like, wow. But he did it because he did it in comedy, right? And he did it really on a kind of a surface level observation, so that it wouldn't just be too much all at
Yeah.
once. So I
Mhm.
thought it was beautiful the way he did it. So it's like he absolutely got it in there. He just didn't, kind of like our documentary. He didn't do it from a place of trying to be right, or anger, or like energy, because it's comedy. So, but I just came in. I was like, I just did some of it for Mara when I came in. Like just did some of it. She was like, "Wait, what? Kevin James did what now?" It was very, very cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think people are starting to wake up. They're starting to see, like, hey, something is seriously amiss on this planet.
yeah,
And I think we're really starting to see the food system, about the artificial stuff, and
yeah.
starting to really go, wait a second, artificial versus organic,
Mhm.
what does that mean? And it took me a while to figure out what the difference was, like when it came to vegetables, for instance. Why do we have organic vegetables? I just thought, like, in the
All of
beginning,
them.
I literally thought organic vegetables were ones that hadn't been sprayed with pesticide, and the other ones were ones that had been.
Mm.
And that was my perception for a long time until I started to realize, wait a second, that's not the only difference. And it's not even a proper assessment of the situation because pretty much everything is sprayed and everything is
Right.
radiated and everything, but it's like they're doing what? Like they're changing the genetic structure of the vegetables?
Mhm.
Like, and now I just saw an
And this
article. I
and the
saw an
soil
article
too.
the other day about pharmaceutical vegetables. They're now
Oh
putting the
no.
shots
Oh
in
no.
the tomatoes. The stuff that's going in the injections is going
No.
into the organic the produce, not organic,
What? Well,
right?
and the soil too, like in big the ones that you're talking about that are doing all the crazy stuff. Also, there's no rotation of the crops because it's just
Oh
like get
yeah,
it
it's
out, get it fast.
horrible.
And you only do that like 2 or 3 times, and then there's literally nothing in the soil, and the soil is where the nutrients come from that come up into the plants. So I like to say when you go to the grocery store, there's a lot of very pretty looking vegetables, but there's really nothing in there. And that's why my favorite time of the year is when we're living in the country and it's direct from the farmer. It's the organic farmer, and they're rotating crops and not putting stuff in it. And uh,
Mhm.
like just GMO corn was kind of the first thing that they just went big on, and there's still people that don't understand what that means and just eat that corn every season all the time, every night, hey, but it's corn on the cob season. It's like, is it though? It's genetically modified. Think
Right?
about
And
those
then
words.
yeah,
Genetically modified. Ah,
yeah, a lot of people don't really pay much attention to that. It's like, well, if they're selling it, then it's all good, like, you know, they wouldn't do anything to harm us. We're all fine, like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah,
but we don't really realize because of all of the artificial stuff that's I mean it's been around for a really long time, right? I mean I remember
yeah,
when McDonald's came to my town, that was like big thing. Oh, let's go there and get some fast food. This is convenient. Yeah.
yeah, and cheap.
Oh, right. Now we start to find out like, wow, this is really really not healthy.
Yeah,
We see like in the 60s we see pictures of like people at Woodstock, and like everybody's slender, and now you go out, you see large crowds and it's like everybody's huge.
yeah,
Like, there's a direct connection
yeah.
between artificial and organic
Mm.
when it
Yeah, and
comes to
the
food and
body
intelligence.
the body doesn't know what to do with artificial. Like
Exactly.
I was just talking to somebody about that yesterday. It was like, do you ever wonder why you could go get a burger, fries, and a shake, eat it all, and then 5 minutes later go for another round,
Mm.
right? Because you're legitimately hungry and you can do another round without getting too full. Like, did you wonder why that is? He was like, I did. It's like, because as you're eating that food, the body goes, I don't know what this is. It's not food. What do I do? So it starts to throw all these chemicals and blood sugar and just like anything at it to try to figure out what to do with it. And then as it does all of that, what it throws at it then tells the mind, you know, I didn't eat because because I didn't give my body food. So then I'm
Right.
able to just go do another round, right? Because the body literally knows what's food and what isn't. And when it isn't, which is what most of America's eating on the regular, whether it's at home or at a fast food joint, right? We're talking about that now, artificial everything, even in the vegetables, if you're doing vegetables. If the body says, this is not food, I don't know what to do, then blood sugar, wonder why people have issues with that. Like all these things can start to show up and as lessons, which I learned from you, right? as every seeming diagnosis is what do I need to learn? What do I need to change? What can I what is this about really? And then change that thing, and then it goes away, whatever it is. So powerful, powerful stuff.
You know, and when we when we start to realize that the way that we create is through our vision,
Mm.
and you know what we envision is what we generate. So tell a vision, how many people are looking at the same vision at the same time?
Mhm.
You know, especially everybody that's addicted to the news. They just simply show you visions of war, of market crashes, of devastation, and you get thousands, tens of thousands of people all looking at the same thing at basically the same time
Mhm.
frame, right? Every
Mhm.
every news channel says the same things.
Yeah.
And so then we generate that because that's where we're focused.
And they're the
And it
same
generates a
stories.
lot of money for a small group of people.
Yeah. I don't know if people know, but it's the same stories all across the country,
Yep.
because there's a through satellite, they put stories up that are already like done, and all they have to do is get their local narrator to put a voice on the video, right? And then it's a piece already done, and they have to get so many pieces done by a certain time. There's deadlines and all that, so it just got so much easier to go grab what was in the feed. So who's in control of what was in the feed? Hmm.
Right. So you
Who's
used to
paying
work
for
in a
that?
news channel. So for anybody that's listening that doesn't know that, Keith used to work
Yeah, in the media. And so you said television, well, TV programming, like they don't even try to hide that, right? They just call it
right.
TV programming. That's the thing about when you're doing things that are nefarious, or some people call evil or dark, or not of the light, right? Then you have to put it out in the open. But and that's why there's so many pokes at things in a funny way. There's like so many ways to program. Like I've noticed in TV, because my wife and I are plant-based vegan, that anytime they talk about vegan, they talk about that terrible food, or oh, they're vegan, or so it's like snarky, funny, ha 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 ha. Because Lord forbid, you know, people should have a focus on eating real vegetables instead of the artificial ones, like we were just talking about. Have a focus on that. Maybe not support the meat dairy industry, which is the largest industries, control mechanisms in the free world. So if everybody wasn't supporting that, then what? Oh my God, would they have to like get rid of all the bazillion, like at least cut back all the cows now, right, that are just, it's just crazy, like how that particular industry is completely taken over, just spreading out and spreading out. So more corn has to be fed to feed the cows, and the cows, it's just they don't wander around, just FYI, unless you're in the country. They're not wandering around anywhere. They're trapped,
Right.
can't
I mean,
move.
that's
It's
horrific. They talk,
it's
like as if the cows don't have consciousness.
right.
Right.
And then all the poop, now they're draining those off, and it goes into this like big, it looks like a lake, right? And then now they're taking the liquid, and they're spraying it all over. And I saw that in a documentary too. There's families that live just border on the outside of the farms, and the farms have and they're spraying that feces into the air, and those people are just like, it's all over their house, it's in their it's on their garden, it's just like everywhere. And
Wow.
it's like, oh, ew, ew, ew. And they're like, and the lady was like, so think about it, like every one of these places, and there's so many now, are surrounded by family homes in one way or another. So they're all just covered with this stuff. That's just one teeny little thing. There's so many levels of the artificial creeping into everything. Like it's
Yeah.
just creeping into everything. And the body doesn't know what to do with it. and the body pretty much knows what to do about everything, right?
Exactly. The
Like,
body holds vast amounts of intelligence. The
right,
body itself is intelligent.
and it can heal itself of anything given a chance, right? So that's the thing.
Exactly.
Like
That's
when you got cancer, and you're like, okay, that was one thing that you were able to focus on and deal with and get through. That wasn't seemingly impossible for you because everywhere you went, you were being bombarded with it, right? So it's just
right.
like if the body goes, there's no food, I don't know what to do. I haven't really seen it be able to deal with that yet. As far as I know, because most of the people I know that are eating things in a box and bags and all of that, and never anything that isn't in a box, do tend to have the appearance of getting things, right? Getting things, whether it be overweight, high blood pressure, blood sugar, you know, all those things. And every time it goes back to uh, put food in your system,
Mhm.
right? You see, like
Live in
the
harmony
live in
with
harmony.
nature.
Yeah, there was like The Biggest Loser, right? They would always take those big people and they would like do all the tests, and every time they'd have sleep apnea, high high blood sugar, they were on insulin or whatever, high blood pressure. Those are the three main things. And when they released 100 pounds, because now they were eating healthy while they were working out. That's the thing, they snuck in eating healthy and focus on the workout, but meanwhile eating healthy. And then they go back and test, and it's like, oh wow, so your blood pressure's in normal range now. Oh, you don't have to be on insulin anymore. Oh, you could throw away the sleep apnea machine because you can breathe now because the fat isn't weighing down on the part of you that breathes and is
Mm.
having a hard time breathing because it's being pushed. And it's just amazing, like how just eating, just what we eat can change so much, right? The body's like, oh, thank you,
Right?
thank you.
And there's there's also the fact that plants are intelligent. Plants also have intelligence. And can you imagine the difference between eating something that you grew yourself
Right.
in a garden
Yes.
than eating something that was bioengineered in a lab somewhere?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's been discovered that if you plant your own garden, if you put those seeds in your mouth for 9.5 minutes, they take in all the information from your DNA, and they can tell what your body needs. So then when you plant those seeds in your garden, those plants grow, and they grow exactly in the combinations for your specific body.
Wow.
That's how much plants actually love us and how intelligent they are. And
Mm,
can you imagine what it would be like if people actually knew that information?
yeah. Because a lot
Yeah,
of people have their own garden, and so that's already part of the way there. But wow, that's pretty awesome.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the thing, uh, like my friend Jim Gale, right? He has a whole community off grid and a food forest. And his whole dream is to get all the corporations, the schools, the prisons, and homes to replace their lawn with food forests. And
Yes.
and if that was a thing, then nobody would be homeless, like, or nobody would be hungry.
Yep.
It'd be like a homeless person would be like, "Do you mind if I?" And every person would go, "What are you kidding me? Like, I can't eat all of this. Please, anytime, come take whatever you want." And if it
Right?
was all up and down the street and every person was had a sign said, "Take what you want," there's enough for everyone. I mean, feed everyone in the USA like so fast. If everybody just okay, this year we're gonna scoop up this lawn that takes so much and pest poisons and pesticides, all this crap to even keep green. Let's just take that all out and then and take the same amount of money and plant a food forest. Oh, now I have food. I'm hungry. Oh, let me go out to the lawn. What used to be the lawn. Let me pick dinner.
Yeah,
Let me pick lunch. Like that's just wow, 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 wow. That would be so
right.
cool. Or you don't have, oh, we don't have this. Go to your neighbor, pick it off theirs, right? Because they already gave you permission. It's like if you don't have anything, come over here. You know, like I don't have peppers, they do. I get to pick peppers, but they love my avocados. I mean, now you're in community. Now you're sharing with each other, talking to each other about like, what did you plant? What did you plant? It's just, it would be so fun. I think even if you started with a few neighborhoods, just the whole neighborhood and did a year or two of the whole neighborhood and then went in and like interviewed those people about like what showed up community sharing people coming and just feeding their family from our neighborhood.
Right. And think of how much love gets generated from that scenario.
Mm,
If you have your property and you together you plan out your property, your
mhm.
domain, and you plant some fruit trees, you plant your garden, maybe you create a pond, like, you know,
Yeah,
you have your animals, and you put your consciousness into planning your space
yeah.
so that everybody has what they need,
Mhm.
and it's a co-creation, and like you're really dreaming your future together.
Yeah.
Imagine how much more solid the relationships would be
Hmm.
in the families
Yeah.
by doing that. You
Yeah.
know, this is, you know, the organic consciousness versus the artificial. You know,
Right.
when you get together in love, love is the organic, right? Like that's what's
Right.
natural.
Yeah.
And you really live in harmony with nature, like those, you know, like the children living in that, you know, growing up in that school where they got to learn organically without having stuff shoved down their consciousness all day long.
Yeah.
um, you know, there's so much divine intelligence that we have that we lose access to when we are just shown all the surface stuff. Look at all the surface stuff. Don't look beneath the surface. Don't take time to meditate. Don't connect in with God, source, creator, universe, the world around you. Don't talk to your plants. Don't talk to the animals. Don't develop
No.
relationships with everything that's organic and living around you. Just
No.
get a job,
That's
get a car, get your
no.
paycheck,
Don't listen to that new age psychobabble.
right?
Because you might actually feel good. You might actually learn something. You might actually change your life. You might actually be peaceful. You might actually learn to love unconditionally. We don't want that. No, so yeah, artificial doesn't want that. Doesn't fit with the plan. Yeah. But yeah, yeah.
All
Great.
about consumers consume and be consumed, right? I mean,
Yes.
the same thing.
Hmm.
All this artificial. That was always been my issue with the monetary system.
Yeah.
It's just a completely artificial system because the earth as it's been created is designed to give us everything we need for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of the food, all of the things for making shelter and clothing and having warmth and companionship and Like it's all given to us already for free.
Right.
So now we're working to get money so that we can pay for the things that were
Free.
free.
And medicine too. All the plants and remedies and things that were free.
Right?
They just decided to hijack that system and make anything that could be free to make it illegal so that they could sell the pharmaceuticals. See theinsideeffects.com, theinsideeffects.com. Watch the movie. You'll see. We're not just talking about stuff here. We have got all the experts and the true research to show you how we don't just say stuff on this show. But yeah, that was hijacked too, because artificial, right? And a way for someone to get rid of all that petroleum. Another way for them to get rid of that petroleum.
Yeah. And all the wars, all the things, all the weather modification that's been happening, all artificial. Wait a second. Used to be we had winter, spring, summer, and fall. Well, now we got fire season and like hurricane season. And when
Season?
did those seasons become things? Like, they're not actually organic. These are also artificially generated.
Yeah.
We have to see, like when we are living in this artificial construct of constant being poked and jabbed and pushed and pulled and, threatened and cajoled and, from all different angles, we're constantly being traumatized as humanity. Basically from the womb, we're being traumatized. And, we wonder why we don't feel well. We wonder why we get illnesses. Well, there's nothing wrong with the body. It's the trauma of the consciousness being so distorted and traumatized all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a great subject. It's good stuff.
Yeah. When I did find myself facing cancer, I looked at what the medical model had, and it's like, well, that's the proven pathway, right? Like that's the accepted pathway. Chemo, radiation, radical surgery, and pharmaceuticals. Like that's the answer. But it was like it didn't seem like the right answer to me because I saw that a lot of people never survived the procedure to begin with. And, then they would just offer this remission thing. And that's just like, taking a little break until it comes back. And it was like, I didn't want it to come back. Like, I didn't want this to be part of my reality at all. So, I was really afraid in the beginning. But when I sat and I just started to learn to tune in and ask, like, Creator, ask God, Source, Divine Intelligence, what do I need to know about this? The answer just came. It was completely obvious when it did. And that's like the ability to tap into our organic intelligence, our organic consciousness. Like we all have the answers. We all have access to the answers inside.
Yeah.
And the answers are organic. They come directly from source. But we don't give ourselves the chance to tap back in. We just look at the surface of the artificial matrix and go, well, this is what I have to do. I got to go to this expert. I got to ask this person. I got to find out this. And, somebody's going to have my answer for me. And it's like, as long as we're looking to somebody else, we're never going to find our own organic authority. our
Mhm.
own organic intelligence.
Mhm.
And our consciousness is going to constantly be distorted. So it's up to each one of us to allow our consciousness to undistort itself, to return to its organic,
Mhm.
natural state,
Mhm.
which is a state of peace and love and harmony and divine intelligence.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and going back to what I was talking about, how if you the the folks that are have the agenda, the dark ones, like not trying to hide it. I don't know if anybody ever noticed this, but when you talk about cancer, and that's like the subject of many movies, right? With the whole dramatic piece, and they do all the things, chemo and all the things you just said, and they either die or they almost do, and then they go into remission, and then when you think that they made it, then they die. So they talk about not even trying to hide it. So it's like, well, no, they're not trying to glorify it and say that if you use that stuff, it's going to work. No, they're saying do it anyway, do it anyway, do it anyway. Because never in a movie do you hear someone go, no, I don't, I don't think I'm going to do that, and then do their own thing and live. Seen that in a movie lately? Or no, I don't think I'm going to, or I'm going to do that. I'm going to do all that and then live to be 100, not the die or remission, then die, uh, or agenda. Like not a thing in movies, right? Because they wouldn't want anybody to know that you could potentially. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Uh, right? Potentially heal yourself through
Right? It's like,
natural.
I'm not a doctor, and that's why I could heal myself because I
Exactly.
wasn't in that consciousness.
Yeah, no, that's for those of you who haven't seen the movie, that's a, piece from the movie. You'll get it now when it happens. I'm not a doctor. We had like a little arrow going, not a doctor, not a doctor. Uh, but twice pointing to people. But so yeah, it's like they don't even try to hide it in so many cases,
Yeah.
and it's wild. It's wild. But and so then spent like you did coming around, and then I literally did try everything, even the natural stuff before I met you. Like I tried did the shots, pills, and like I did all that too. But I also tried acupuncture. I also tried chiropractic. I also tried, you know, Reiki, every type of spiritual healer there was. Like
This
people
was for
tried to,
chronic pain.
yeah, for chronic pain, and but then right, then I met you, and it was like, let's tell a different story. Stop recreating that. Realize that pain equals healing. So anytime you try to stop it, you're stopping the healing. And lean in, baby, go all the way in, give it 100%. Yes, I am healing, and it worked. So it's just a really interesting thing. It's like the body and me allowing the body to do what it does. That was the piece that was keeping it from doing the healing, right? The mind. Um,
We've been taught backwards. That's part of
yeah,
the artificial construct is we've been taught backwards. We've
right,
been taught that the body is sick. There's something wrong with the body. And it's
right.
never true.
Yeah, yeah. We literally live in backwards land. Everything is the opposite of what you're told it is. And when you go through a couple days with that in mind, right? What's the complete opposite of this that they just said? What would be the complete opposite of that? What would be the complete opposite of that? Oh, I just had this thought that's been programmed into me. What would be the complete opposite of that? You find a whole lot of love, peace, strength, power, compassion, all the God qualities I call them, right? All the good stuff. You would just find that everywhere, right? Because that love is the opposite of almost everything that's out there that's seemingly negative. Like the love is the answer to that question. Even who would I be without that thought? I love Byron Katie. Like, oh, that was just revelation. Like, I have the thought, I'm not good enough. Who would I be without that thought? I'd be good enough, right? It's that simple. So, if it's just a thought, and if I was born like literally made in the image and likeness of the thing that created everything, then I think I am enough. Like that just makes sense that I am enough. And any of a thought that I ever had that's contrary to that is malarkey. Yeah,
Exactly.
artificial thoughts.
And probably the most artificial one of them all is death.
Mm,
We're
mm,
eternal beings.
right.
Like, we have been programmed for death.
Yeah. Yeah. And the quicker the better these days. Right. they're they're kicking butts and taking numbers.
Goodness.
It's crazy. Uh, yeah. Life. There's life after life. Then there's life. And there's life.
Mhm. Exactly.
All right.
It's
Everyone.
just so much fear of death. If nobody feared death,
Mm,
like we knew that that was part of the artificial construct, if we knew that we didn't die, that this incarnation is just one experience that we're having as the soul, and
mm,
we're just going to have another experience and another and another and another and endless experience. It's like we wouldn't put so much, we wouldn't allow ourselves to go into fear over it,
yeah.
realizing that we're not these bodies.
Mm, yes. So much more.
Right? Oh my gosh.
So much more than these bodies.
There's been a lot here to think about today, folks,
Hmm.
about artificial and organic. We've only just scratched the surface of this topic. Really, there's so much that we could talk about it. But it really pays, if you think about the divine design, think about this beautiful planet, how it was created in the beginning.
Mm,
Everything was taken into consideration, everything was thought about with love. We've been Man is the pinnacle, because we have the ability to create universes, is what we really have that power.
mm,
But it's from love that we can do that. And we have the animals here to keep us company and to work with us. We have the plants to work with us. Plants are intelligent too. And when we live in harmony with all of life, it's grand and glorious. That's the divine design.
mm.
Anything that goes against that is part of the artificial matrix.
Right.
So we're here at this point in time on planet Earth to start dismantling the artificial matrix so we can return to our organic intelligence, our organic consciousness, and we can start to heal ourselves, planet, and society,
Mm,
start living in peace and prosperity for all beings, returning to the divine design.
mm, mm. Yes, Lisa, yes. You got it. You said it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Um, Thanks for another great conversations in consciousness today, Keith.
Hmm. Yes,
Always a
absolutely.
pleasure, always so much fun. I
Hmm.
love our conversations.
Thank you all for joining us and telling everyone that you know about these conversations, bringing them into the conversation with us. Thank you all.
Yes. We need to have these conversations all over the world so that we
Mhm.
can all start to return to the divine design.
That's right. And you can find Lisa and learn more at
Connectingyoutoyou.com.
I love
And
that.
you can find out more about Keith at
Leon Smith Publishing, or just put Keith Leon S into your search engine and hit enter. I'm not hiding. You'll find me. Find out all the things I do. Like you could write a book with me. You could do so many things. Let's do it.
all right.
And we'll see you next time.
And Conversations in Consciousness. Thanks for joining us,
Take
everyone.
care.
Bye.
Spread your wings.